today I'm going to be talking about the 6 realms of samsara. So to begin with, I thought I would bring up this picture of the wheel of life, zooming in on the 6 realms. And the you might say for Westerners, the way to begin to understand these 6 realms is by looking at our emotional state. But I'm going to go through these very briefly and then go into them more deeply. At the top here, where I've got my arrow, my cursor pointed, we have the God realm, the highest of the realms of samsara, the highest because it is the one that has the most pleasure in it. And these beings are the most powerful in samsara. And then to the left, to my left, we have the jealous God realm. And if you notice, their palace is smaller than the full God's palace. It's also at a lower elevation. Then on this side over here, on the right side, we have the human realm here. And this, of course, is a Tibetan painting. And so here we have a nomad's tent, and you have a monastery with a statue of a Buddha. Over here is the animal realm, and we have some water with some water beings in it, and then land animals. Here is the hungry ghost realm. The animal realm, the hungry ghost realm, and the hell realm, which is down here, are considered the lower realms, and they are considered that because they have more suffering in them than the higher realms. But all 6 realms have suffering in them. And so this is the hungry ghost realm, and they suffer from hunger and thirst. Here is a picture of a bodhisattva, and as you can see, he's pouring out water, and there's some beings here with open mouths that are drinking from this water that the bodhisattva is pouring out. And in fact, in all of these realms, there is a bodhisattva. And then here is the hell realm, and there are many different hell realms. And so some of them are depicted here. Here is, on this side, you can see there's a lot of white. This is the cold hell realm, where the environment is frozen, ice and snow. And the beings in it cannot keep warm, and their bodies freeze. And then here you have beings in a cauldron with a fire under it being boiled. Here are beings that have been stretched out, their feet and their hands tied. Here are beings in rivers that are on fire. Here beings are being judged, and so on and so forth. And as I said, in each realm, there is a bodhisattva. Here's a bodhisattva. There is a bodhisattva. There is a bodhisattva. There is a bodhisattva. And in the human realm, there is a bodhisattva. The idea of these bodhisattvas, is that in all of the realms of samsara, there are bodhisattvas that are working to, you might say, rescue beings or show beings the way out. Now, The human realm is considered the best realm to be in terms of meeting the Buddha Dharma, practicing, and attaining the results of your practice, which is liberation. And so in the human realm, while we have suffering, we also have happiness, we have a mixture, and that it is possible, at least for some humans, to have enough leisure to practice and to be motivated to practice, because the suffering is enough to make the beings in the human realm, at least some of them, want to get out and eliminate their suffering. In the two God realms, the bliss and the happiness is so great that they have no strong motivation to escape. And in the animal realm, the hungry ghost realm, and the hell realm, the suffering is so great and there's no leisure to practice that the beings are overwhelmed and usually are not the least bit interested in the Dharma or practicing or whatever. There are specific kleshas or conflicting emotions that are associated with each of these realms. And this is a really important point. And the way, again, for a Westerner to really get a handle on these six realms, because they seem so strange in terms of what we have, you might say, come in contact with previously before we came to Buddhism, that these seem really odd at the very least. And how could it possibly be, for instance, might come to mind. Or these are just made up to scare people. The way to understand this is to understand them as psychological realms that you can visit from moment to moment, hour to hour, day to day, month to month, and so forth throughout our lives. That when we are arrogant, we are visiting the God realm. When we are jealous, we are visiting the jealous God realm. When we have a lot of desire, we are in the human realm. When we are, you might say, denying things or having, just feeling apathetic, not wanting to do anything, we're in the animal realm. When we are overcome with greed, we are in the hungry ghost realm. And when we are overcome with anger, we are visiting the hell realm. And interestingly enough, human beings, we human beings seem to specialize in one of these. That some people, it is anger that they are visiting most frequently as they go through their lives. Others, it is ignorance, apathy, denial. A person can be, you might say, very intelligent, very highly educated, and so forth. But when you get out of their area of specialty, they might be very, what would I say, uninterested. And so forth. That what's really good to do is check regularly, where is my mind? what of these inflictive emotions have I been, you might say, controlled by in the past few minutes, few hours? What have I been thinking? What kinds of thoughts have I been having? Have I had resentment, aversion? Have I been feeling like a victim, that other people are tormenting me in some way or another? Am I irritated? Do I have anger? And so the hell realm, it can feel, when you are angry, it can feel like you're surrounded by people that are working against you, that are your enemies. You can feel like a victim. And when you are in the hungry ghost realm, you are under the influence of greed. And the interesting thing about greed is that no matter how much you have, it's not enough. You can't enjoy what you have. You don't see what you have. You see what you don't have. And the human realm, as I said, is desire. And because of modern media, we are constantly bombarded with images of wonderfully happy people with amazing looks on their faces that seem to be wrinkle-free and thin and so forth. And they are all happy. And it's frequently in conjunction with something that we should desire, want to possess or experience or whatever. This is the human realm. And the thing about the human realm and desire is, because it's never satisfied, is that there's a lot of work involved with it if you're really attached to the desire. Because then you have to work to acquire what it is that you have desire towards. And so the jealous God realm, when we visit it, we're jealous of other people. And my favorite example of how simple jealousy can be and how common it is you go to your favorite restaurant with a circle of friends. This is pre-COVID. And you order what you want, and your friends order what they want. And then the food comes, is placed on the table, and you look at what you ordered. You look at what another person on the table ordered, and you think to yourself, I wish I would have ordered that. That looks better than what I have. And that's jealousy. And of course, arrogance is when you think that you know more than other people, or that you are better than other people. Or when you're waiting in line to get checked out, why is the cashier spending so much time with this person in front of me? Da, da, da. Or parking lots, in parking lots, when you want to get a parking space and someone cuts in front of you and gets that juicy prime space that you wanted. And then, of course, instead of feeling arrogant, you're mad, and now you're in the hell realm. And so it goes. It's really good to pay attention to how you go from one realm to another, to another, to another throughout your daily life. By paying attention to what's going on in your mind, the thoughts that you are having, the emotions that you are having, how quickly they change, and so forth, you get to know yourself better. And you get to have a certain feel about these different realms. The only difference between these psychological realms that we can experience while we are alive in our present human body and ones that we are reborn in our next life is that those are more solid than this one. You can't get from a hell realm to a hungry ghost realm or an animal realm if you are reborn in the hell realm. It doesn't happen instantly. And it is because of karma that you are born in the realm that you are in. It also is because of karma that we have one of these afflictive states of mind that we specialize in. I like to say, if you look at yourself clearly, pay attention to what your mind is going through and on a daily basis, you'll find that you don't visit these 6 realms randomly, that you spend most of your time in one of them. And that, it's like a job application or a resume where you say that this is my specialty, and I also have a competency in this other area. And if you look at your mind and you look at your afflictive emotions, you will find you have one that you specialize in, and then you have another that you have a competency in that you visit frequently, but not nearly as much as the main one. And then the others, not so much. I mean, we just don't have that ability to specialize in all of them. So, as has been said, some people are lovers, others are fighters. Lovers are its desire, fighters its anger and aggression, resentment, and so forth. So you can understand this part of how your mind works. You have a better idea of how these 6 realms work. So the full gods, the afflictive emotion or state of mind is pride or arrogance. The jealous gods, it is jealousy. They're not as powerful as the full gods and therefore are jealous of them. The human realm is desire. The animal realm is ignorance, as in ignorance, to ignore things. To be focused, an animal can be very, very, very focused on one thing, and it might be food, it might be their safety, but then the rest of it is completely beyond their, you might say, comprehension in most cases. And then there's greed for the hungry ghost realm, and then anger, aggression, and so forth for the hell realms. So I'm going to go into these realms in more detail. At the top is the full God realm, which I had mentioned at the very beginning. There's a celestial palace there. There's God seated on clouds. Not in this picture, but sometimes there are goddesses playing musical instruments. It's a land of bliss. Everything about it produces bliss. It's a very beautiful land. It takes good karma to be born in the actual God realm. They live extremely long lives. They are a bit like the Greek or the Hindu gods. And they're very powerful. They can influence what happens in the human realm and other realms. However, because they are overcome with bliss, they really do not do much to accumulate more good karma, which is what it takes to be reborn there. And so you might say when their karmic bank account runs out, then they die. And because they have certain mundane abilities to see the future, they know in advance they are going to die, and they know which realm they're going to be reborn in. And so they know that they are going down. They know that they will have to leave this realm of theirs and go to a realm which there is more suffering in. And it is also said that as they start to show signs of dying, that the other gods abandon them and don't want to have anything to do with them, so that they suffer from abandonment and loneliness. So that is the suffering of the full God realm. Oh, and the next realm then is the jealous God. And to kind of illustrate this relationship between the jealous gods and the full gods, uh, the full gods have more power than the jealous gods. And that's why the jealous gods are jealous of the full gods. And there is a tree that is almost always pictured in these paintings of a tree that grows in the jealous God realm. I'm going to go to the picture here. There is a tree here that grows in the jealous God realm, but as you can see, the crown of the tree here, which bears fruit, and before it bears fruit, has incredibly fragrant flowers, and the fruit produces bliss when eaten. And only the gods can enjoy those flowers and that fruit, because it does this in the highest realm. And so what you have, you almost always have a man, a jealous god here with an axe, starting to chop the tree down. meaning that if we can't have it, nobody can have it. Also here, you can barely see it, but these are archers that are shooting up here to the full gods. Here are full gods that usually they have their hand out like this, repelling the arrows. That's all they have to do to repel the arrows. So here is the jealous god realm. So they too will die, and they know when they are going to be experiencing death, and they suffer from that knowledge as well as from dying. So in both of the God realms, death is put off for a very long time. And even if you're a jealous God, there still is a lot of bliss. As a result, the full gods and the jealous gods are not much interested in practicing the Dharma. Even though, if you notice in the picture, there is a bodhisattva in both realms, indicating that there are bodhisattvas in the plural in both of those realms, trying to lead beings out of them. So now the human realm. So you have here a monastery. You have people here listening to a Dharma talk. Here you have people listening to a Dharma talk. A man out plowing his field with a yak. You have some domestic animals, probably yaks, horses, a Tibetan tent, prayer flags, a scene that would not be, it's very typical of Tibet. So that is the human realm. It would be interesting seeing a modern Western version of the human realm on the wheel of light. I don't know if there are any, but it would be might be interesting how humans in the West would be depicted. Then over here we have the animal realm. We've got a snow lion here, elephant, camel, horses, yaks, tiger. I'm not sure what some of these animals are. Looks like deer. And then some animals living in the water. And I'm not sure what the animals are. They are not fish. I really can't say what the animals are in this particular painting, but the point is with the animals that it is the idea of apathy, not caring. It's very different from desire or jealousy and so forth. It's just not being all that interested in not doing a lot. The Tibetan word for animal means one that goes hunched over, and meaning that an animal is looking down and not seeing a bigger picture. And so in a human that is visiting the animal realm in their daily life, they are just very focused and not seeing the bigger picture. They're seeing a very narrow view of things, and they are denying a lot. One of my favorite examples would be a person that It is April 15th. Income taxes are due. They've known this for years, maybe decades. And so what do they do on the 14th or the 15th is they file for an extension of their income taxes so that they can put off doing the work till some point in the future. And so on down the line, the kitchen is full of dirty dishes, but that's all right. We can wait to do that at a later point, and so on down the line. It's just not paying attention to what's going on in your life and putting it off and denying it and ignoring it and so forth. So then is the hungry ghost realm. And this is not a pretty picture, how that is depicted. Here you have human beings with very large bellies. And as you can see, the landscape looks like a desert, that they cannot find food and drink. And they have extremely narrow necks. So even if they do find food, they can't eat enough of it. They can't get it down into their stomachs because of their narrow neck. And so they suffer from hunger and thirst. And in the human realm, this is the way that greed works, is that no matter how much you have, it's never enough. You're always looking for what you don't have and don't enjoy what you do have. You might have a mansion full of very valuable artwork. You know, each work of art could easily be over $1 million. Your house could look like an art museum. But what are you thinking of is the artwork that you don't own, that you want to own. Or you could be a billionaire. And instead of retiring and enjoying it, what are you doing? You're just working very hard, long hours, trying to earn more and accumulate more money. And that's the way greed works. But you don't have to be wealthy to be greedy. Even people with modest means can be greedy, and even people that are poor can be greedy. It's interesting that when I have been over to Tibet and Nepal, that people with little means have been very generous in terms of giving me things. They might be insignificant to me, but to them, they were very significant because they didn't have much to begin with. And here in the West, we sometimes have difficulty parting with things that, in terms of what we do own and possess, is not that big, but it's like, no, I couldn't possibly part with that. I couldn't possibly give it away. And so this is what leads to being reborn in the hungry ghost realm. And as I said earlier, here is a bodhisattva, and he appears to have a pitcher. A bumpa would be the Tibetan word, and that from it is flowing water, and it's going into the mouths of these hungry ghosts here. Sometimes they are depicted with fire coming out of their joints. And what that means is that here's one fire coming out of the mouth, these two here. When they do find food, they find that instead of satisfying them when they eat it, it just causes fire to come out, that they can't even enjoy the food once they do find it, or enjoy the water once they do find it. It just causes more pain and suffering. And so in the hungry ghost realm, there is just lots and lots of suffering. Now going to the hell realms. As I said, this is the cold hell realm. And the reason why there's a cold hell realm is that uh, one type of anger is, I don't get angry, I get even. And you remain very cold. You're angry, but it's a cold anger. You're not an explosive volcano of anger. You're just holding it in, waiting for the right time to get even, waiting for there to be, you might say, an opening to get even. And so that is cold anger. And beings that experience that kind of anger, that's the form of anger that their anger takes, then are actually reborn in a cold hell. And here, as you can see, it's just ice and snow. They have no protection from the cold, and their bodies freeze, shatter, and then become whole again, and they go through the whole thing. You can see some of these people are just huddled, trying to keep warm, and they're naked, and so they cannot keep warm. Here again is this cauldron with a fire under it, and demons are boiling these beings. And of course, after that, their bodies become whole again and unboiled, and they go through it over and over and over again. There are lots of different, you might say, torture methods here, or methods of causing suffering to beings. Here, it looks like this person is being hacked into pieces. I'm not sure what's going on here. Here, people are stretched out. Here are these rivers. Some of them are like rivers of acid. You can see there are green demons throughout all of these different realms. Here is a bodhisattva leading beings out, trying to teach them. And these beings here are being judged. And again, you can see more demons here that are, you might say, part of the court here of judgment. So that is how the hell realm is depicted in these paintings. What isn't in there is a hell realm that caught my attention as soon as I heard about it, because there are lots and lots of, you might say, subsidiary hell realms. And I don't know the name of this hell realm, but it reminds me of a person that is in an abusive relationship. And so this is how this hell realm works, is that you have the being, and he is in, or she, take your pick, it can be either, is in a place where there's a tree, and up at the top of the tree then is the object of their desire, their beloved. And the tree has razor sharp leaves. So it's very difficult to get to the top, but the person is totally enthralled with their beloved on top of the tree, and they gingerly climb the tree, avoiding the leaves. And when they're just about up to the top, ready to embrace their beloved turns into a vicious demon. And in their haste to get away, they are cut to shreds, and the pieces fall on the ground by the tree. They are made whole. Their beloved, the demon turns into their beloved, and they do it all over again for hundreds of thousands of years. So that is a little bit about these 6 realms. And again, what's really important is to see these in your own life, to see when you are in the hell realm, when you are in the hungry ghost realm, and so on. To see when each of these different afflictive emotions are what you're spending your mind on at this particular time.